plaintiff, Jonathan Harris, says he thought he had a child with the defendant until a DNA test proved that his cousin was actually the father. Jonathan is suing his ex-girlfriend for reimbursement of child support and emotional distress. Defendant Tori Jones says while dating Jonathan, he was abusive and assaulted her a few times a month. Tori says Jonathan was convicted after he held a knife to her throat. So she's countersuing for emotional distress.
Start with you.
This woman, I'm here today because this woman said that I was her child's father when I found out that it's not my child, it's my cousin's baby.
Oh. How long did you think the child was yours?
Maybe about 18 months.
What made you suspect that it wasn't, or did your cousin just have religion one day? And
first it was just about rumors, and then he came out and told me that he had been having sex with her and that the baby was his. So I took it upon myself to go get a DNA test done, and it came out that she wasn't mine. And
ma'am, you want to respond?
It's true. Okay. I also have 2 other kids by his cousin.
Okay.
Due to the fact of verbal and physical abuse that I dealt with Jonathan.
Oh, that's why you had the kids by the cousin?
No,
that doesn't make sense. That don't have anything to do with each other.
Because I felt comfortable with him. I felt safe around him. I felt like I was being loved by the cousin. So why didn't you
quit him? Did you tell him that the baby was by him?
At first, yes.
Why did you do that?
Because it could have been a possibility between the 2 of them.
Okay, did you tell him that? It may be yours? Did you say it may be, or you told him it is?
I told him it was.
Why? Why did you lie? If you knew there was a possibility, it could have been his cousin who you were having sex with
this was when
at the same time you were having sex with him. Huh?
Actually, I only had sex with his cousin once.
All right, but at the same time that you were going with him?
Yes.
All right. You didn't think that you should tell him?
No.
Okay, good enough. Please tell me you didn't pay child support. I see you suing for it, and she's just standing here just as flipping about it.
Yes.
You had to pay child support?
Yes, I was incarcerated in 2006 for carrying a concealed weapon.
They pay you well?
No, I was. Nah.
Well, how were you paying child support
when I was incarcerated, I got a letter from the friend of the court saying that you has a outstanding child support warrant. So I immediately started putting in all the forms trying to get to support throughout. They never even contacted me back, so I ended up doing 2 years. So when I come home in 2008, I try to contact her and say, let me get a blood test because I'm on child support and I don't believe that the kid is mine. Mm. So she gave me a runaround for about a year, and I have the DNA test if you want to see it.
She's agreed that she got pregnant by your cousin while she was having sex with you. So
she gave me the blood test. The results came out. And by this time I was working 2 jobs and going to school full time.
Good.
So they started taking out, every week they was taking out money out of my checks. And then during income tax time, they took all of my income taxes for like 2 years. They just took it. So I tried to go through the court saying, this is not my child. I have a DNA test did. They told me that they can't honor that test because it wasn't done through their facilities. So I ended up paying another $438 to get it done through them. She never shows up, and she works in the same building where the test is being held at. So they end up throwing it out the case, and they gave me back, here goes my financial summary of everything that was paid.
So they gave you some back?
Yeah, they gave me 37.
What, you're suing for the balance?
Yes. The balance that's still owed is $2,417.
All right, and your emotional distress is for what?
She broke my family up.
How?
Because me and him, we was close. I mean, that was that was like my father figure because my parents had died when I was young. So, when I stopped talking to him, it's like we don't talk no more. I mean, we used to didn't talk. But now, after everything that's came out,
forgiving him, you all have gone past it.
Yeah,
because that was in 2006.
Yes.
All right. And he's still with her, as she says.
No.
Well, he has other children.
Yeah, he had 2 other children by her.
Okay. Ma'am, what do you want to say?
Well, I want to start by saying when we met back in 2001, everything was good. After that, Jonathan became very abusive. He was incarcerated for that. I also have his record for that.
For physical abuse towards you?
Yes.
In what year?
That happened in 2004.
You have that?
I issued him.
How often would he do that?
Pretty much as if he got angry at me or drunk or high, it didn't matter.
Like how often, though, on average? Few times a year? Or?
Probably a few times a month.
Please tell me you didn't pay child support. I see you suing for it, and she's just standing here just as flipping about it.
Yes.
You had to pay child support?
Yes, I was incarcerated in 2006 for carrying a concealed weapon.
They pay you well?
Nah.
Defendant Tory Jones is being sued by her ex-boyfriend, who claims Tory led him to believe that he fathered her child until a DNA test proved his cousin was actually the father.
How long were you all together?
3
years.
3.5 years.
Okay, you say you did it 3 times a month for 3.5
least.
years. Is this the only time you were able to?
Yes, because he
prosecute?
put a knife to my throat. And actually, at that time, I wasn't the one who called the police.
No,
Somebody
let's
else
go over
did.
it again. Let's go over it again. You don't seem like you're understanding what I'm asking you. You said for 3.5 years, he assaulted you 3 times a month.
At least.
And all I have is 1 conviction.
Yes.
So my question is, did you call the police often?
Yes.
Okay, and what would happen if you called the police 3 times a month for 3.5 years? I would assume he would have been convicted more than once.
With us staying together, it was more so like a mutual agreement. One of us had to leave. And at the time with me...
No, that's not what they do when people assault and batter you, ma'am. They do just what they did this time. They charge them.
Right.
All right. Go ahead.
I would call my mother and I would just leave. So, I mean, after so long, after my mother got tired of me calling her, talking about
Let's deal with the child support first.
I don't feel I owe him that.
Why not?
Because it wasn't issued to me. It was issued to the state. I didn't receive that.
Good enough. Would it have happened had you not pretended it was his?
I mean, I didn't find out.
Would it have happened? Answer my question.
No.
Thank you. What is the counterclaim is for?
All of it, mental distress.
All of what? All I see is 1.
Okay, that's what he got convicted of.
Right. And so you
But it
want
was
emotional
years of
distress
still-
for that?
Yes.
Sir, you do have a conviction for domestic violence.
She lied on that. When I got
understand, but
arrested,
you were
she came
convicted.
to court, beat up, and I never put my hands on her.
you
That's a lie.
Yeah, I was.
That's a lie.
So, okay, you pled guilty.
Yeah.
To a plea bargain. And unfortunately, when people do that, they mess up their record. Doesn't mean that you did it necessarily, but you did plead guilty to that. Your child support you want is $2,417. You have proven that she owes that. Now, subtract that from $5,000.
You ready?
Yeah.
2,583.
All right, so that would be your emotional distress you're suing for is $2,583 for what she took you through, the dishonesty, the lies, having your money garnished. So I'll grant you that emotional distress. However, I do believe that you assaulted her, or at least you pled guilty, and therefore I'm going to hold you liable to emotional distress on her behalf. So, ma'am, I'll grant you emotional distress too for $2,583. So how much you think you get?
$0.
All right. $2,417 is your judgment. Good luck to you both. Judgment for the plaintiff.
That's something that she got to deal with her kids about. I'm not
Change
going
your
to.
baby name.
I'm not going to get into it.
Your baby gonna
You
know
don't
how
have
you
any
are
part
drunk.
to deal with
I'm the one that
anything.
paid for the child, for your baby
That's
to
your
get the blood
fault.
test.
That's your
That's my
fault.
wife.
I
What
paid
you
for the
did?
blood test because you're a rat.
Okay.
Rat.
Okay, and how many baby daddies do you
I
have?
got 2 rat, and they
Have
both take
one.
care of their kids. Where yours at? You better go look at your house, gutter ball, little rat.
And what are you?
Rats. I got everything I own, baby.
Why
What's
are
about
you mad? Why are you
Rats.
mad? Why are you mad?
Rat. You gonna find out in a minute. Rat.
Okay,
Come
I'm
on,
waiting
come
on
on.
that.
Plaintiff Tiara Jordan dated the defendant, and she insists he is her daughter's father. However, Tiara claims the defendant took her daughter to a bogus paternity testing facility, which also does tax preparation, and the test proved otherwise. Tiara petitioned the court for another DNA test, and she's suing for emotional distress. Defendant John James says Tiara needs to let go of the lie because he's not the father of her daughter. John believes the initial paternity test results were accurate, and he suspects Tiara's ex may have fathered her child. He's countersuing for emotional distress.
Give me some background on this.
Okay.
We are here because I believe that he is the father of my daughter. We had a paternity test done. The results came back he was not the father. I don't believe that those tests are accurate because it's a $99 tax return place. And I have an audio.
You throw me off now.
The paternity test is $99, and they also do taxes.
At the same place. Sir, you went to a tax service to get a DNA test.
Your Honor,
I would sue him too. You went to a, how did he even get it? I mean, how do they provide taxes in one booth and DNA in the other?
I don't know.
So
I guess they
do? You go on
multitask.
to one side of the booth and then you hand them your pay stubs on the other side, and in the other hand you.
They yeah, it was $99. I didn't have the money.
But do they also do your taxes?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I wouldn't believe the results either, I'll be honest. So how did you find out that's where he told you that's where he was going?
Yes.
You didn't tell him, hey, I'm not going to believe whatever they say.
No, we all went, but he told me I was not needed, so I stayed in the car. And him and my daughter.
But did you see the sign?
Yes.
You didn't wonder, perhaps he was confused?
Yes, I was.
But then he went in and stayed for a minute, obviously.
Yes.
And came back out.
Yes, he came.
And you
back.
asked him, what, you going for your refund? Did you ask him why he went in there?
He said that it was $99, and that's why he was going, because it was cheap.
Correct.
Do you have that result? No wonder you wanted another. I
Yes.
don't much blame you, to be honest, ma'am. This man going to a tax service.
Thank you.
And how long did you all date? Tell me about your dating.
We began dating in August of 2009. I got pregnant in December of 2009. I moved to California in June of 2009. I had my daughter October 3rd of 2010. I called him because he never called me to check on me to make sure I was okay or anything. So I called him. I let him know that I had my daughter. He asked
No,
for-
when you called and told him you were pregnant, what did he say?
He was happy. He was happy about the pregnancy.
Okay.
And I told him I didn't want to have the baby because I already had a child and I
Okay.
was young. And he told me, don't get an abortion.
Okay.
So I think he's just running away from the responsibility.
Okay. Sir, what do you want to tell me about all this?
First of all, she need to let go of the lie. You know, she trying to carry to her grave or whatever. I don't know who she lying for. This situation
Was he
gotta
the only
stop.
guy you were seeing during this time?
Yes, sir.
Do you know that to be the case?
What raised the question, Your Honor, while she was pregnant, from California, she called me, you know, we was talking, you know, back and forth. She told me out of her own mouth that she had sex with her ex-boyfriend. So that drew the question of, you know, if you had sex with him, you know what I'm saying, while you pregnant by another man's baby, why wouldn't you, you know what I'm saying, beforehand? You know, so
Makes sense.
You know.
Ma'am, did you tell him this?
Yes, I did.
And you want to know why he didn't
No.
participate in your pregnancy?
Because when I told him I was pregnant, he stayed away from me. It was like he didn't want to be around me or something.
That's not right. At the time she was staying in Gary, Indiana, I'm in Chicago. So we never seeing each other consistently. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, she coming in with her auntie, you know, we seeing each other through friends. So we never seeing each other, you know, all the time, no every week. Maybe once a month, maybe twice a month.
How long after your pregnancy did you begin having relations with this other guy, ma'am?
I was 5 months pregnant.
5 months pregnant, you start having sex with another guy.
It was only one time.
What do you have there you want me to hear?
The audio of the tax return DNA.
Yeah, that'll be good. Let me hear that. Hold on. Let's hear it.
Thank you for calling. Home of the $99 DNA testing and tax preparation as low as $99. If you know your party's extension number, please
Home of the
enter it now.
$99 DNA testing and tax preparation. So your emotional distress is what?
I am a single mother. I've been taking care of my kids alone, and I need his help.
Okay. And the other gentleman you were saying, is he still around?
He's incarcerated at the time.
So your lawsuit for emotional distress is because he is not claiming paternity and not participating in the child's life.
Yes.
Your counterclaim for emotional distress is for what?
Your Honor, this whole time that this been going on, you know, I'm at work. She's not working. She don't got nothing else better to do with her time than to slander my name around people that I done been around.
That's not true.
10, 15
Quiet.
years. Your Honor, these people have always looked at me as a man, you know, and now it's like they looking at me sideways, you know, they don't want to be around me.
Like a deadbeat.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? These are real, you know, manly people. You know, I surround myself around positive people. You know, I like to network with people that's, you know what I'm saying, doing something. But they don't want me in the crowd now because what she done said. You know
Man,
what I'm
you
saying?
sounding good. I hope that this child is not yours because you're sounding like such a good guy. You know, you want to surround yourself with positive people. Where are you from, Gary or
I'm
Chicago?
from here, Your Honor.
All right. Both towns are very tough towns with very bad influences throughout. Particularly Gary. It's a very tough town, very similar to Detroit. A lot of poverty, a lot of crime, a lot of drugs, same thing in certain parts of Chicago. And you talk very well, you want to do the right thing, you talk positively, you're concerned about your reputation.
I am, yeah.
A lot of young guys are not concerned about their reputation. In fact, they want the reputation of being some type of street tough guy. But I'm glad to hear the things that you are saying, and I'm sure if the child is yours, you're going to be a responsible person,
That's
right?
correct.
But
And if the tax place,
And it can slip out a good deal.
I'm going to sue them, and we're going to upgrade on our way of living. I'm going to sue them for so many nickels and dimes, and I'm going to be a father, and we're going to live good.
Good. All right.
That's
I
how I
like
see
the way
it.
you speak. Have you been telling people he's the father?
Yes, I have.
Starting when? When did you start telling people that?
When I was pregnant.
Okay. And did he ever deny it?
No, not while I was pregnant, but after he went to the tax place to get the
Did you
DNA.
tell people
Wait
that?
a minute, no.
Go ahead.
When she told me,
That's what I was going to say.
exactly, when
About
she
the
told
5
me that
months.
she had sex with her ex,
After
he
5
had
months.
raised
always-
Ma'am,
question.
did you still tell people after that?
Yes.
Okay,
He
and that's
had
why he feels
always-
that you've caused him emotional distress, because even after you admittedly had sex with a man 5 months into the pregnancy, it caused him to doubt, and he told you he doubted it, and he certainly would doubt it after you tell him in the 5th month of your pregnancy with his baby that you're having sex with another man. You want to go and get the results for us, please?
let's go.
I'm not going to even look at it.
I'm going to look
have
at
her read it.
Okay.
I'm going to open it up. I don't know. You don't be nervous now. What does it say, ma'am?
He is not the father.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Can you let this go now? What else you need? Do you want to sit down with the scientists and do another one? Let the scientists,
he
sit down with the
says
scientists?
I'm going to grant your claim, sir. Certainly it is emotional distress. I hear you talk about how your reputation is important to you. She admittedly had sex with another guy 5 months into the pregnancy, told you about it. That's distressful enough to claim that you are the father and at the same time say, while I'm 5 months pregnant with your child, I'm having sex with another man. And then it turns out that you are not the father after having endured this type of criticism, perhaps ridicule from your friends, because they are responsible guys and they look at you as if you are not. And so I'm glad to hear that you are concerned with your reputation. She has hurt your reputation, so hopefully it'll be exonerated. But for the emotional distress you endured, I'll grant you your $1,000. Of course, your claim is dismissed. Good luck to you and the child. I hope that you're able to find the father. Have a good day.
I apologize. I didn't mean to do any of this to you. I am so sorry. I thought you were her father.
Just want to let you know that this ain't the end. I ain't holding no grudges, you know what I'm saying? I don't want you to feel a certain way about me, you know. But it's definitely something you got to take care of, and you know, I'm here for your help. You need some help or something like that. I mean, we always been cool as friends, so nothing has to change, you know. I already knew the results before we even got here. I knew it was a legit place. You know, I was just trying to get her to understand that, but for some reason in the back of her mind, she believed that it wasn't real. But I'm definitely here to be a friend, no more than that.
I'm sorry.
Plaintiff Rebecca Thomas says growing up, she thought her sister's father was her father. But at the age of 10, her mother told her that the defendant's father was her father. Rebecca needs to know the truth, so she petitioned the court for a sibling DNA test. Defendant James Jelks Jr. says he doesn't know what to believe because when his father first introduced him to Rebecca, he said she was his sister. But later on, his father said that Rebecca wasn't his sister. James is eager to put the issue to rest today.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
I'm here because when I was younger, my mom had told me that James' dad was my dad when I was 10 years old. Well, before then, I grew up in a household with me and my other 3 siblings, and I was told that my sister's dad was my dad.
Beginning at what age? Ever since you can remember?
Ever since I was born.
Mm-hmm.
And he took care of us, and he was everybody's dad in the house.
How many siblings in the house?
Altogether 4.
Okay.
And so me and my siblings would come home from school, and it was a man sitting in our house, and which was supposed to be my alleged father. And he was sitting on the couch. My mom said, "This is your daughter." And he was like, "I know. I knew that out of all of them, she was my daughter." So then after that, we had conversations.
Who was sitting there when he said that, when they had said that to each other?
It was me, my mom, and James' father. And
you're 10.
Yes, going on 11. And then after that,
have you there listening to that mess? Go ahead.
So then,
I know you're doing your head like that. You're 10 or 11. Go ahead. I'm sorry to
going
laugh.
on 11. So,
but it's just kind of ridiculous to have a 10 or 11-year-old hearing that discussion. How did you feel? Now, what was your immediate reaction?
I was confused because all I was thinking was just looking at. I kind of felt like he was when I seen him because I don't know. I just felt it.
He resembled you, or you thought he resembled you?
I don't know. I just had it in my heart when I seen it. Like, wow, yeah, he looked more like me than my sister dad. And I just was thinking like, I can't wait till Daddy get home because I'm telling. Oh. That's what I was thinking.
You didn't know about it?
Did you?
Yeah, I told.
You went up to your father and said, "Mama said you ain't really my daddy." She brought another man over here. I said,
"Mama had a man in the house," and said he was my daddy. And then he said, "That ain't your daddy," and he just started going off cussing. And then him and my mother, they got into it about it.
Yeah. For sure. I'll even allow that shout match. All right, that was something. So how did that change your perspective on your family, on your father, the father that raised you, what your mother told you? I know you were confused at 10 or 11, but what did you
I stopped being
thinking?
confused because I looked like him. So I stopped being confused, and I started going around his family members, which was the granddad and the brother, the sister. So I went around them.
Okay.
And
good.
they already knew about me, and they was asking me why I don't come and visit them. So I'm like, well, I'm only 10 years old. Right. So right. I just can't come and visit y'all.
And what did your father who had raised you have to say about it?
He was mad, and he told me it don't matter what my mother said, that I was his daddy, and she need to keep him away from me. That's what he said. And he told my mother the same thing. So my mom will sneak and still continues to have him come over to see me. They weren't messing around or anything.
Right.
And he would just come and see me, pick me up, take me to the stores and buy me things. And then when I was a couple of months after I met him, that's when I met James. He brought James and his siblings to our house.
But you weren't hurt when your father told you, I'm not your father? Did he tell you directly?
No, he...
Because you saw, okay, you're a little kid. He's just like me. Okay, it's my real dad. I'm glad to know my real dad. That was your feeling.
No, I wasn't happy to know he was. It didn't matter. I really didn't have no feelings.
That's okay.
About it.
At 10, you didn't know what to feel.
Right, I didn't even know what to do.
Didn't let you down. So what happened when you met James? How did you?
I met James when I was 10 years old, and the rest of his siblings. And I seen him only one time when I was younger. And after that, we were talking, playing everything, being kids. And then after that, I didn't see him anymore. And I reached out to James. And then I didn't see James' dad either, like 2 months after that, after him bringing his children to our house. So then after that, I reached out to James like in 2014, 2015, something like that, on Facebook. And I said, hey, you know, what's going on? I just wanted to know where my siblings was. And he told me to come over his house, and I went over his house, and we just been talking, and I just was thinking, like, I can't wait till Daddy get home, because I'm telling. That's what I was thinking.
Went up to your father and said, Mama said you ain't really my daddy. She brought another man over here.
Mama had a man in the house and said he was my daddy. And then he said, that ain't your daddy. And he just started going off cussing. And then him and my mother, they got into it about it.
For sure.
Plaintiff Rebecca Thomas was told the defendant's father is her father, but the defendant claims his father denies it. So Rebecca petitioned the court for a sibling DNA test to find out the truth.
We'll hear from you, sir.
Okay, well, Your Honor, I'm here because I believe that there's nothing more important than family and having family in your life. Rebecca contacted me, and it brought back a flood of emotion.
This is in 2014?
Yes, Your Honor. I was told that she wasn't my sister, and that was the reason why, I guess you could say, I didn't come back.
When were you told that?
When I was 15.
How old was she?
She was 10, about to be 11.
So when she came by the house, did she come over your house?
I went to their house when I was 15. And
with your father?
With my father, yes. And he introduced me, like, this is your sister. And I'm like, oh, really? And it's a lot to take in. I'm like, all right, because I already had 4 other siblings during this time period. And I'm up there like, okay, this is new. Then later on, maybe about 3 or 4 months later, I was told that wasn't your sister. Don't even worry.
Who told you that?
My father.
I'm sorry. Not a laughing matter, but how did he determine that he had made a mistake? Or someone had made a mistake about what he had originally told you?
He really didn't say, but I do believe that there was a DNA test because I heard something about it with my mom and my dad. They were arguing. And
how long ago was that?
That was when I was 15.
Okay, and what can you recall?
I remember something being said, something about a DNA test. I remember that, but I don't know if it was him saying that he needed to get one or if it was I had one and this is what it said. I'm not sure.
But at that point, she was 10, you were 15. There was still some dispute, some question, rather, of paternity. So much so that he argued with your mom.
Yes, Your Honor.
At that time that he came to get in your life. And it's a good thing that he came to be a part of your life. But did you know that later, a few months later, he had denied?
No, I didn't know that I was ever denied until when I was 19, when I seen his dad again.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me, reached out to me, and took me to his house because my brother had seen him in a store and gave him my number. So he called me, he asked me, can he come over? Can he pick me up? I went to his house. Me and my son, we went to his house, and we was just talking. We met his girlfriend at his house and kept having relationships with him. And then that's when I reached out to James 2014 or 15, because that's when it became confusion between me and his dad. When I would question him about, like, where's my siblings? He told me they all moved out of the city and that wasn't nobody there and that he was in the military and he came home, that he supposed to be coming home in 2 weeks. So I felt like within those 2 weeks, he would, like, just start little arguments with me, the dad, and because he knew James was coming back and he didn't want us to see each other. So after that, it's like, you know.
No one ever told you that, no, definitive, since age 10, that wasn't your dad, because he's saying he told him within a few months
Right.
that he wasn't, but you didn't, it never got back to you.
Right.
All right. Yeah, that means this is just very odd that he would come to you and say, this is your sister. 3 months later, that's not your sister.
Yes,
and that was when you were 14.
Well, 15.
15, and she was 10. Told her I'm your dad at 10, and never told her anything different, but told you something different 3 months later.
Yes, Your Honor. Just
trying to establish so folks can understand what occurred. It's just very odd that he would come to you and say, this is your sister. 3 months later, that's not your sister. Told her I'm your dad at 10, and never told her anything different, but told you something different 3 months later.
Yes, Your Honor.
Just trying to establish so folks can understand.
Plaintiff Rebecca Thomas was told the defendant's father is her father, but the defendant claims his father denies it. So Rebecca petitioned the court for a sibling DNA test to find out the truth.
Where is he now? Your dad. He's still with us?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. What is his observation on any of this?
Well, to me, it's leave it alone. He doesn't want to talk about it. So anytime I bring it up, he shuts the conversation down, and it's like I never brought it up.
Well, he has the right to do that with you, but I don't think he should with her. They don't want to talk about it. No, are you my dad or not?
Right.
But you won't want to talk about something. Yeah, you need to get some real clarity because, yeah, you all aren't siblings, so he's not your dad. I don't know who's playing the games, your dad, your mom, his dad, I don't know. That's just so disappointing when folks go back and forth about who your dad is. Age 10, this is not your dad. Then 3 months later, that dad says to his son, no, that's not my daughter. Then you hear from him later, 10 years later, come on over. And parents need to be honest about this because it affects the person's entire life. All right, have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I don't know what to think.
I am kind of heartbroken about it. Me and Rebecca have been building a bond since she's reached out, and I can say that's not going to change. You're still my sister as far as I'm concerned.
You're still my brother.
Plaintiff Jennifer Hill says she grew up not knowing who her father was, and her mom admitted that she wasn't sure either. Jennifer recently discovered that the defendant may be her father, so she petitioned the court for a paternity test. Defendant Melvin Lacey admits he had a sexual relationship with Jennifer's mother years ago, but insists he never knew she was pregnant. Melvin claims the first time he learned of Jennifer is when she recently reached out to him, and he hopes the DNA test will provide some answers.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
We are petitioning the court for a paternity test.
Yes.
All right. Let me hear from you first.
Okay. I'm here today to see if Mr. Lacey is my father. I don't hold no grudges against him. Growing up, it was hard not having a father. But my mom was strong. She would tell me that when I was like 7, maybe 8 is when I started asking her questions like who my father could be. She would tell me that she couldn't remember a lot of details. The only thing she could remember was that at the time he was working at a grocery store. And she said when she found out she was pregnant, she went back to try to tell him that she was pregnant, but he had moved. She said so after that, she didn't pursue looking for him or anything like that, and she just let it go, and that's all she could remember. So I would ask her, and that's all she could remember. When I was around 13, my auntie came to my mom and told her, there's this guy that she thought my mom could have been involved with, and he looked like me. And so I got to meet the guy, spend time with his family, just got invested emotionally with the family. When I was 14, my mom and that guy took me and we went and got a DNA test. He turned out not to be my father. It hurt. I didn't want to pursue anything after that, after I seen how my mom was hurt, and it hurt me. So.
Why was she hurt?
She was hurt just hurting for me. I was around 14 at the time, so I was still young. I
got you. I'm leaving your mother alone because
yeah.
That search could have started at age 1, though.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have had that hurt.
Exactly. So around March 2022, my mom and my sister took a DNA ancestry test. That sparked my interest in searching for my father again, not because I just wanted to know who my dad was, who the other side of me was, who my family was. So I took a DNA ancestry test. I ended up getting the results back. The results came back like a week later. Came back with a lot of names, a lot of percentages on who could be on each side. I didn't know what to do with that. So I went to Facebook and found a nonprofit organization. It was called DNA Search Angels. Ended up meeting this lady who helped me break down who could be on my father's side or who could be on my mom's side. We ended up finding my highest match, which ended up being Mr. Lacey's first cousin. He ended up knowing a lot about the Lacey family, from the grandmothers to aunties to uncles to who could have been in Chicago around that time, who could have been in Grand Rapids around that time. So it all broke down to it's either Mr. Lacey or one of his brothers that could be my father. So when his cousin reached out to Mr. Lacey sent me a text message saying, whenever I was ready to talk, he was ready. So I called him, and when I told him about the details which my mom could remember, he worked at a grocery store, and when she tried to go back to tell him,
he did work at a grocery store.
Yeah, that he.
Mr. Lacey, you worked at a grocery store.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So he confirmed that. So then he told me that he remembered my mom having this little light-skinned girl with her, pushing her around in a stroller around that time. That just was, bells went off in my head. That's my older sister. She's a year and a half older than me. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I found my dad. So after that, me and my sister, and I took my daughter. I have 5 daughters, so he would be a grandfather to all 5 of my babies. We went over there and met him for the first time. He was very receptive in getting to know me. I felt right off back like I look like him. I feel like it's just something that makes me feel like this is it's what it could be. But when I told my mom, she was not so sure, and she didn't want me to be hurt again. So she was like, I don't know. I think you need to get another DNA test because I'm not accepting nothing until you get another DNA test. So that's why I'm here today.
Okay. Let me hear from you, sir. Give me some background.
All right, Mr. Judge Mathis. I've been a fan for a long time. I want to throw that out first, okay? Of you and Doyle. I've been watching you guys for a long time. All right. Let me start off by saying right off the top, up until the early part of this year of what she was saying to you, I had no idea she existed. I just didn't know. When my cousin reached out to me and started giving me the story, like she just told you about the grocery store, the young lady she was pushing around the store, I remembered. I got a very good memory with everything that I've been through in life, like an elephant too, okay? So I remembered the story. I remembered her mother. I remember how pretty she was, those eyes. I remember her pushing she wasn't even walking herself. She was a newborn. And we had an encounter. Not just one time. We were seen. She would come in. I was working third shift, and she would come and see me. We only lived around the corner from each other. I used to walk around to her house as well. I had no idea she had gotten pregnant, and I just didn't know. I didn't run into her anywhere in the streets.
How old were you?
About 20.
So she was like 23.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep, and then when he told me about what street he was staying on and then where my mom was staying, those two streets are right around the corner from each other. I look like him. It's just something that makes me feel like this is it's what it could be. But when I told my mom, she was not so sure, and she didn't want me to be hurt again. So she was like, I don't know. I think you need to get another DNA test because I'm not accepting nothing until you get another DNA test. So that's why I'm here today.
Defendant Melvin Lacey admits he had a sexual relationship with the plaintiff's mother years ago, but he insists he never knew she was pregnant. So he took a DNA test today to see if he is the plaintiff's father.
What happened in between? You left, you moved, she says?
Well, I moved. I was staying in one of my dad's properties, and then I wound up moving out of there into another apartment or a room or something. And,
in Grand Rapids?
Yeah, I stayed in Grand Rapids. I was born in the city of Grand Rapids, but I was raised in Chicago. We went to high school, completed high school there. We started out in Ida B. Wells. I lived over there for a little while until they were able to get the money together and get us out of the projects. Then we currently moved to 73rd South Side of Chicago, where my mother still resides. I was over there this morning.
Okay.
After I completed high school, I didn't really have any plans, Judge. I wound up homeless.
Did anybody encourage you to have plans when you?
Nope. I gotta say no.
Yeah, your parents, your mom. You had a single mom, or you?
No, I had a mom and a stepfather.
Okay, and they may not have known the value of continuing education, and I give a pass to that older generation because our ancestors from coming up from the South had no real appreciation or understanding as to the value of advanced education beyond high school. Because when they came up, they didn't have anything, no high school, most didn't even have elementary. And they moved to work in the factories up north. And it paid them very well. I bet they talked about that.
Right.
You should get in that factory. Did you ever hear that?
No, not
You should have heard that. That's what everybody was saying in Detroit.
They pretty much asked me what was I interested in, what did I want to do, and what how I got through high school. I didn't do too bad. I wasn't really looking to go to school. I got to be honest about it.
Whether you looking to it or not, somebody should have been looking to it, looking to you doing something. Anybody suggest the armed services maybe? Which is always a catch-all, unfortunately, when we can't find opportunity in the inner city.
My dad did, but, and I even signed up, and then I pulled out at the last minute.
Okay. So you did have something you were directed or had some insight into? Because I always get an earlier generation break.
Your Honor, I also signed up for the truck driving school, and I went. I think I might have attended a couple of weeks. You know what I mean? Before I just stopped.
What'd you do? Go in the streets then or something? Or you stayed in the basement? What'd you do?
Well, no, I was in the streets. Well, I was in the streets, but I hung out with. I had friends that you know what I mean. That you know what I mean. I had the one friend that he had a liquor store on 79th Street, and I used to help out up there. I really wasn't getting paid. I can't say I was working there, but I hung out up there, and in the mornings he took a bunch of wood. Home Depot would be proud of him. He built a nice newspaper stand. We put it on the corner of 71st, and we used to get up like 4:30 in the morning and run out on the corner and go out on the corner and sell papers.
All right, you hustling. Let me say this to you though. Next time you're trying to explain where you worked, don't say I'll be up at the liquor store all the time. Be out there cleaning or whatever. I didn't get paid. I was just hanging around.
Right.
That wasn't work.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't work. It wasn't, Your Honor.
No, you were trying to get your hit.
But that was somewhere I spent my time.
Trying to get your hit. You're trying to get your hit.
No, well, not at that. Well, we did a lot of drinking. We did a lot of drinking when the store would close down.
You went from
we
drinking
locked
to
the
smoking.
store. Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Them 80s hit.
Yeah. But Your Honor, at that point in time, I hadn't got involved with that. You know what I mean? I strayed away from that. You know, it was only after I left Chicago and made it to the city of Grand Rapids that I let somebody introduce me to it.
You should be ashamed of yourself. And you left one of the 3 most flooded crack cities in the country to move somewhere where it was little crack, and you went and found some and got hooked on it there. You fought it off here where it was everywhere you look, left, right, back, front, up, and down, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, everywhere you looked in Chicago, there it was.
You
fought it off there. You went to Grand Rapids. It's hard to find, but you just kept looking till you found some. Hey, I fought it off in Chicago, but here I'm in Grand Rapids. Only one person doing it. Me and you gonna do it alone.
At 40 years old.
Now that's something.
You got that right.
Now that's something.
That's
starting
right.
to crack addiction
That's right.
at 40.
That's right.
And that's scary.
That's right. Yes, it is.
That's
and
scary.
I saw a lot of stuff.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah,
How you gonna have me sitting up worried about my kids at night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was out of the woods. Everybody 32 and above. So you're telling me my 37-year-old lawyer, daughter, national leader, all of that, at 37, any day now she could be a crackhead.
I doubt that. I doubt
Why
that.
you doubt it?
I made a poor decision. I mean, I don't know how I let it happen. And you say I should be ashamed. I was very ashamed.
I'm saying by the age. I know a lot of people fell victim to the 80s dumping of cocaine on the inner cities, the crack dumping. So I say all that to say, you should be embarrassed after escaping that. Not to use it, period, but at age 40. Come on, man. Everybody done.
Right.
All right.
Right. Well, you're right.
I didn't get paid. I was just hanging around.
Right.
That wasn't work.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't work. It wasn't, Your Honor.
No,
but that was somewhere I spent my time.
Trying to get your hit. You're trying to get your hit.
Well, we did a lot of drinking. When the store would close down, we locked the store. Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Them 80s hit.
Yeah.
Defendant Melvin Lacey admits he had a sexual relationship with the plaintiff's mother years ago, but he insists he never knew she was pregnant. So he took a DNA test today to see if he is the plaintiff's father.
The good thing today is that I hear that you have a desire to take to embrace your loved one whom you have not been with.
That's right.
And to take on the responsibility, both emotionally and otherwise. There's a responsibility even beyond financial, and that is advice, counsel, protection. And so that's why I'm sure it is the case that you are her father, and we're not going to have to do this anymore. Please don't run me off. I'm going to run if I'm not right, and I am right. So I can take my time. You're the father. All right, there you go. Love it, love it, love it.
I felt it from the day I met him. Like, I'm happy, and I'm just ready to come on from here, move forward from here.
Absolutely.
Yep, and
what
just
we're
keep
gonna
building
do.
on our relationship.
That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to building the future with you. Okay. I mean, like I said, we missed out on a lot of years, but I'm still here, and we'll move forward with the time, with whatever time I got left. All right.